right, welcome to this week's episode of the Connecting Right Radio Show.
How you doing, Dave?
Good. How are you, Tom?
I'm feeling great.
Good. We're gonna have a pretty busy show this week, so we're gonna get into it real quick. First segment, we have Edwin Duterte with us. Sorry, I'm awful at your last name, Edwin.
Oh, you said it. You said it. That's fine. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we're going to talk to him a little bit about his campaign in the 43rd, going against a couple of the other Republicans that he's got up against, and then also trying to go for Maxine Waters' seat. And then, and then in the second segment, we're going to bring Edwin will still be with us, and we're going to have Joe Messina join us. Joe wears many hats around this city, but he'll be wearing his Hart School District president hat on. So he'll be here to talk about the walkouts and how the schools and the school board is handling it, the walkouts that are planned for Wednesday, the 14th. And then the final segment, just to kind of lighten things up, we have Ivan Pacell, who's going to be with us. Ivan is a born and raised resident of Santa Clarita, and he's a very successful comedian and juggler.
Nice.
So
nice.
We get to have some fun with him on the third segment to lighten it up a little bit after we kind of get a little serious in the first two. But let's jump right into it. Mr. Duterte, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you. I'm looking forward to having fun today. I wish I could juggle with you guys.
Right. I wish I could juggle, period. But so tell us a little bit about yourself. You're running in the 43rd District. Give us a little bit of your background and what got you into got you into this race?
Yeah, well, my background is primarily real estate and banking.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that for years, and then when the banking crisis hit in 2008, I had to totally change gears. So what I did is I had a stack of cash because that's I saved everything. As a conservative, I saved half of everything I made just in case.
Invest until it hurts.
Invested until it hurts, and unfortunately, the Great Recession hit. Yeah. And what I did during the Great Recession is I went around the country because I thought the recession was only going to last 2 years. So right. I went around the country to help find people jobs, and I started this organization called Pink Slip Mixers.
Oh, wow.
So I went to Vegas. I did events in L.A., San Francisco, all over the East Coast, and in fact, KTLA named me Hero of the Week, and KNX also did the same thing.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you actually went around and helped people who lost jobs because of everything that had happened find jobs, so that
right.
people can get back into the workforce, and that's that's great. So Obama probably took credit for some of your work.
Actually, I did events, and Maxine pretty much copied me back in the like 2009, 2010.
Wow, so you're already ahead of the curve on her.
Yeah.
Now, for our low-informed voter listeners, where is the 46th district?
Oh, no, the 43rd district
43rd.
Starts from the south of Lomita,
Okay.
half of Torrance, north to Gardena, Lawndale, Hawthorne, up to Inglewood, and to the west it's LAX, Playa del Rey, and Playa
very
Vista.
diverse.
Right.
Diverse.
Yes, and you're right next to the district that Stacey Dash is running for. Also, she's running in the 44th, I believe.
She's running in the 44th. And that covers the other part of the South Bay.
Right.
And so I wish her very, very good luck, and as well as Jasmina Saavedra.
Yeah, and Stacey did get the endorsement yesterday from the LA GOP, but unfortunately for the 43rd, there was a no endorsement, which is kind of disappointing because that's endorsements hold weight. That really helps out. So it's actually it was disheartening for me to hear that it was.
It was really disheartening for me too.
Yeah, I'm sure. But as somebody who wants to flip somebody who definitely wants to see some seats flipped in our state, so that we can get some more conservative leaders out here. It was kind of sad, You did it was. Carmen, I forget what's Carmen's last name. That's also running with you guys because it was Carmen something. I forget her last name, and then Omar, and then
Candace. Candace.
So it's Candace, Omar Navarro, you, and Frank DiMartini.
Correct.
Who were all on the ballot to get the endorsement, and then you and Frank DiMartini got into the final two
in the runoff. Yeah.
And then unfortunately there was no 2/3 vote to get you the endorsement, But so what's your strategy going forward against basically the way that I look at it, the way that I see it? It's mainly you, Omar, and Frank.
Right.
So what's your strategy going forward to secure a nomination in June?
In June, well, the makeup of our district is we're 20% Republican and 80% ultra liberal. Mm-hmm. So we need to find, even if we get all of the conservatives, we're not gonna get the majority of the numbers. Right. So what we need to do is we need crossover. So my strategy is to find that crossover, and one of the issues that we all agree on are jobs. You know, in our district in Inglewood, Inglewood has a 22% poverty rate.
Jeez.
In the whole district as a whole, it's 17% poverty.
That's still
So
high, too.
it's still very high. But then when you look around the district, inside the district, outside the district, you see jobs like you see companies like SpaceX. You see the Aerospace Corporation. You see LAX. You see the port of LA and Long Beach just to the south. You have Silicon Beach just to the west. And most of those jobs have six-figure jobs. But why is it that people in our district don't have access or the opportunity for that job?
Right.
And I believe that Maxine Waters has done the disservice to the community by not presenting ideas to get the constituents, the young adults into the jobs that are coming on that have six-figure jobs.
Right.
So that's where I'm coming from. So I think people in our district, if they see an opportunity to get these jobs, I'll get the vote, and I think I can really win the crossover. And in fact, I'm working with not only the minorities. The Latinos. I'm working with the lowriders. I'm working with some of the gang members.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite things that you said yesterday. Was it Crip Conservatives?
It was a Crip Conservatives. It was a Crip Conservatives. So I've been going to a whole bunch of gang intervention events. I've been going to the different community like community reflections, resilience, and and they actually live a conservative lifestyle. When you ask someone who's been in jail for a long time, so do you have a job? Yeah, I have a job. Do you have kids? Yeah, I have like 6 or 7 kids. They might not be from the same woman,
Right.
but they have
families they need to support.
Families, and they don't want their kids to live the lifestyle they did.
Okay.
So education is real big for them.
Good. And STEAM is actually something that you're pushing very hard also, which I believe is science, technology, and
engineering,
arts, and mathematics.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, I'm Asian, so so I like math too. But yeah, most of those jobs in the tech as well as the creative industries, they're going tech. So like if you want to make a movie, you have to convert digital files. If you want to promote a movie, you have to go digital. So in our district, we see a lot of that. And in fact, I was at the park one day. I was feeding the homeless as well as talking to different people in the park, the homeless mostly, and as well as the gangbangers. And I noticed one thing: there's a 30-year-old kid. He's a kid because I can say that because I'll be 50. I'll be 50 in a year and a half.
Okay.
So, but he had a computer, and so this guy, he didn't have a car. He had a bike, but he had a computer. And I asked him, dude, what are you doing with a computer in the park? He's like, well, I'm coding. And I said, what do you do for a living? He said, I'm unemployed. But he's still coding. So that tells me that people in the district have the opportunity to, and the ability to do tech. It's just they don't have the access and the opportunity, and that's
Right.
what I want to change. And I think some of the plans that I have, I think we can really create the environment to do that.
Good. Well, I like that. I like to hear that. So let's fast forward. Let's go to let's say we're passing June. Let's say you get the nomination.
Right.
And now you have to face Maxine.
Maxine, yeah.
And one of the biggest things that I hear from her area, from her constituents of why they continue to vote this crazy woman in is that whenever there's an issue, something that's going on that they need to contact their congresswoman about, she has a field rep either out to them or contacting them the very next day.
Right.
So she's very what's the word I'm looking for?
Proactive?
But yeah, within the community, as far as taking care of these issues. Is that something that you're going to be able to do? Is that something that you're going to be able to let people know? Hey, I can do this also. What are you going to do to get those people that are on her side because of this onto your side?
Yeah, well, I'm going in the belly of the beast. I'm going in the districts and in the neighborhoods particularly, and I'm going after the nonprofits, and I'm telling them, what has she done? And all they could really tell me is, we take pictures with her, and they'll get their cell phones and they'll swipe all the pictures,
Right.
and then I'll say, no, what has she really done?
Right.
So once I get that across to them, then they'll realize that she hasn't really done anything for them. Aside from the picture taking.
Okay.
So I'm going in there. I'll get the community as well as I'll get other minority groups like the Asian community. The Asian community, we represent about 15% in the district.
Wow.
and they're high voters. So even though they're typically Democrats, I could flip them because they see an opportunity to get an Asian, to get a representative in Congress for them.
Good.
Yeah, so I'll have I'll have a ground game like we haven't seen in this district.
Great, that's great to hear. But I mean, for now, we have to focus on getting the nomination. And
Right.
so, if someone's going to come up to you and say, "Okay, so I see Frank, I see Omar, I see you. Why should we vote for you over the other two?"
Well, in our district, we have, we talked about this earlier, where in the district there's 17% poverty.
Right.
And that's pretty high. I don't know what our poverty rate is in Newhall and Santa Clarita, but I don't think it's 17%.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So if we go out in the community, in a very poor community, that's all they can think about is how do I make rent? How do I pay for food for my kids? They're not thinking about world issues. They're thinking about what can I do now? So if we talk about jobs, that's all they care about. And we as conservatives, sometimes we want to be intellectual, and we want to say, oh, what about DACA? What about the wall? What about this? But then when you actually go in the community, they have immediate needs, and that immediate needs is survival.
Yes. So they're not worried about Kim Jong-un. They're worried about feeding their kids.
Exactly.
Which, I mean, I think that goes for a lot of people out here also. So, and then what got you into the race? I know you said that in like Omar's first month, you kind of helped out a little bit there, but now you're running yourself. So what changed? What made you want to jump in, throw your hat in the ring?
I was president of the South Bay Republican Assembly, and my job as president of the organization was to grow the conservative movement, and I was doing quite well with that. I did several events at Trump National Golf Course, where the first event I had about 150. The second event I had almost 300 people.
Oh wow! Okay.
And it was growing. And then one day me and Jennifer, my girlfriend, were driving up and down Crenshaw and Hawthorne, and what we noticed is we saw all these companies, in the district, but then we also saw. Yeah.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, that's my phone.
No worries.
We saw poor people, and we thought, why is it we have these great companies like SpaceX, who in December raised $1 billion?
Right.
Why do these companies make so much money and raise so much money, but the community is so poor?
Right.
So that's why I wanted to jump in, because I saw a need that we need to service our constituents, we need to service our district, and if we do that, then everything changes. We can grow a conservative movement, because people will see that they're making money, and then when they actually make money, they'll see that they could save money through taxes, and then from that they can start their own businesses, and we can have entrepreneurship.
Right.
So I just see that if we do the right ingredients in their district, that we can grow the conservative movement, and that's why I'm in it.
Yes, definitely. Great. Well, that's great. Thank you very much for coming and talking to us about this. I think also you're going to get once people start seeing a little bit more money in their paychecks from the tax reform, that they're going to see that we actually are trying to help, that the conservatives are actually trying to help them out. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're still going to have Edwin with us. We're going to have Joe Messina joining us so that we can discuss the walkouts that are planned nationwide on Wednesday the 14th. We will be right back.
Every year, thousands of local children, teens, and adults receive treatment at the Child and Family Center for depression, anger, anxiety, abuse, thoughts of suicide, and drug and alcohol addictions. Our professional staff provides outpatient services at office locations, in the home, the community, and on many elementary, junior, and high school campuses throughout our valley. If you need help, contact Child and Family Center at 259-9439 or childfamilycenter.org. Improving lives, one family at a time.
Buying your home can sometimes be challenging. That's why Charlene Gill with CSMC Mortgage is your Santa Clarita mortgage expert. What's important to you is to secure a loan at the best possible rate, to have a professional guide you through the process, and to close on time. Charlene's 23 years in the mortgage industry and her personal expert knowledge in the Santa Clarita Valley makes her your mortgage expert. Contact Charlene at hometownstation.com/Charlene. That's hometownstation.com/Charlene.
We all know someone impacted by the Las Vegas tragedy. It touched our valley and thousands of households. Many of us were actually there. In Santa Clarita, we had 1 fatality and 14 injured by bullets. Many more were injured trying to escape. Others are still traumatized by their ordeal, finding challenges returning to normal lives. The law firm of Owen Patterson Owen is helping many Las Vegas victims get financial assistance for their ordeal. If you know someone impacted by the shooting, visit opolaw.com.
All right, welcome back to the Connecting Right radio show. We have Tom, obviously, our normal co-host. Edwin Duterte, who's running in the 43rd District for the nomination to try and unseat Maxine Waters. And also, we have joining us Hart School Board President Joe Messina.
No, I'm not president.
Oh, that's right, you're not president anymore.
No, I get the, I'm the low man on the totem pole.
Uh-oh.
I don't get every call anymore.
Okay. Well, that must be something nice for you then. A little bit of a break.
It is.
Who is the president now over at the Hart School Board?
Steve Sturgeon is.
Steve Sturgeon. Okay.
Yeah, very good guy.
Great. Well, I still appreciate you coming on because we have
thanks.
bit of a
Welcome.
controversial subject that's going to be coming. That's event that's going to be happening on the 14th. And I'd heard a little bit about this. I didn't hear anything about it locally. And then Thursday, I started getting a bunch of calls, and from parents and teachers, which was very interesting to me. There's people that I just sort of had acquaintances with, and all of a sudden they're asking me to talk about this on the show, and that's when I reached out to you, Joe, on Thursday, and we set this up. So Wednesday is the 14th is a national walkout amongst high schools across the nation that's supposed to be in solidarity with the 17 families that lost a family member at the Parkland shootings. And that's fine. I think that, if you're going to walk out and support of these families, that's great. But one of the things that I know that the school board is worried about, the schools and other school boards across the nation is this going to affect the kids being in schools? It's going to disrupt classes, and the school board and the schools work together to make it in a way where it's not going to disrupt classes, right?
Yeah, so first what my trustees had on it, the bottom line is our job is to keep kids as safe as humanly possible in school. And it's funny because I've spoken to a few law enforcement officials, and there's a reality here. We cannot tell you that your kids will be 100% safe in school all the time. It's impossible.
Right.
But I will tell you, with this so-called walkout, what we did was we got out in front of this, and the staff has been great, and the district office has been great in reaching out to some of these groups that we knew were going to, quote-unquote, walk out.
Right.
And we've asked them two things. Look, we can't, once you leave the grounds, we can't keep you safe anymore, all right?
Right.
This isn't Star Trek. We throw a force field around them as they, every place they go.
Right.
But if you stay on campus and you do it during lunchtime, then we'll keep you safe. We'll give you your venue. We'll give you a place where you can speak your mind and speak your piece. We can keep you safe. You get your voice, your freedom of speech, and and you don't lose any class time. So everybody wins. They get their freedom of speech, which I'm a big believer in.
Yes, you are.
And may I say one quick thing to my conservative friends who have also called me? You can't have it both ways. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech, and these kids deserve to have a right to be heard.
Right. The one thing that people are worried about that the concern was that I got from quite a few, including the teachers, was that this is going to go from being about standing in solidarity with the families to becoming a gun control protest.
Well, I'm hoping it doesn't. We can't stop that from. Well, we can on campus, but the kids have a right. Now there's another event on the 24th, I think, which is a Saturday, where that's the one which is not just in solidarity with the kids from Florida, but that will be the gun control and the whole big protest. But at the school level, it'll be a little different.
Yeah, and I hope that they kind of stick to it being with the solidarity of the families, because the families deserve that, the families need that, and I think it's better than to do it as something saying we feel for you, as opposed to saying we feel for you, but gun control.
one of the young, and he's a minor, so I can't give you his name, but one of the young men that's part of one of these clubs or one of these groups said, hey, look at. What I'd like to do is have a movement, instead of just protesting or doing whatever, why doesn't every one of us reach out to 17 other kids on campus and make sure they're okay and make sure they have friends and make sure everything's cool in their life? If every one, and you got to go, Wow, you see, that's the thing to do.
That's the proactive
That's
situation. That's
bingo.
all right.
Yeah.
So just so people are aware, in case you didn't know, I mean, you can go to the KHTS website and find this article, and it'll tell you everything. But Canyon will be holding their event from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. because they have a late start at 9:24 a.m. So it's not going to interfere with schools or with a school schedule. Valencia High School will be employing their rally schedule, which I believe, if I remember correctly from being at Hart, we had a rally schedule. It takes like a couple minutes off of each class, and then you get an extra time during the brunch time or whatever. West Ranch High School set aside time from 10:28 to 11:08 for demonstrations. They will allow students to make use of the amphitheater and other commodities, according to Brenda Hunter, the school's office manager. Hart High will schedules altered to allow students to demonstrate with the other students at 10 a.m. That's from Principal Diotrament, is I saying that correctly? And then Saugus is the only one that hasn't made any official announcement on changing school schedule. So I don't know if this is as of Friday. They haven't made anything. So I don't know if they did something. Maybe if they're going to say something on Monday or Tuesday, but we'll be looking out for that.
They'll put it out there. Yeah.
So Edwin, what are your thoughts on this? On this all happening?
I think kids have the right for freedom of speech,
Right.
but it just seems like it's morphing into something that maybe wasn't their idea. Because kids, as smart as kids are, how can they organize this national protest? Where against guns.
Right.
That's what it seems like to me. It just seems like it's being controlled by some other forces besides the youth.
Yeah, and I've always kind of had that idea too, that there might be something else that's behind this. It's not just kids getting together saying, "Hey, we should do this." But I don't have any evidence of that. I can't. But it's just sort of, we never really organized anything on a national scale. But we also didn't have the internet. We had the internet, but didn't have it as widely used from 95 to 99 when I was in high school. So,
Dave, there's also a school of thought that says, does protesting actually is it an effective way to garner change rather than going through the official process? And some of the studies and reports show that it really isn't all that.
Yes.
As far as I understand.
And well, the other thing the thing that I got a lot of, there's the activism like that kid said about going out and reaching out to 17 other people. I think that's going to be a lot more than people
More effective than a protest, as you
right?
just
Gathering in the quad and hey, But maybe some of them. I know that hearing from some of the other parents that there's group chats that are going on where kids are talking about this, and that's where some of them found out that some of the kids are going to try to turn this into a gun control protest. And which, if you want to do that, that's fine, but allow the pro 2A kids to come in and have their piece too.
Here's the thing I'm going to say, and I know some people get tweaked by this. All right, so we have worked with these groups, and they have agreed to. They have given us their word. This is what's going to go down. Now, if that gets turned around,
right,
and they snooker us to keep it clean, then why would we trust them in the future? Why would we give them this venue in the future?
Yes.
Maybe next time they have something, we're going to look at. You played with us last time, and it created A, B, and C.
Right.
We're not going to allow you to put us in that position again. So this is a good way to do this.
I think, and I think that's reasonable. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, we're going to trust you to do what you say you're going to do,
Right.
and then but if you come up and make it like fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. We're not going to get.
And the parents need to know that if they do walk out,
Yeah.
right. There's two things. We cannot keep you safe. We're not responsible for you once you hit that sidewalk.
Right.
Is the
Right?
school responsible for a certain demarcation point that the child?
Well, when
leaves
they're
the
supposed to
school?
be in school, that's what we're responsible for them when they're on school grounds.
I see.
Okay,
But not when they
But
go
if
home.
we all did it. I think we all did it. I did it. You stuck out and go have lunch at your favorite little restaurant that might be a mile away from the school, right? You get with your buddies, you hop in the car. Oh no, you were a good guy, right?
Yeah,
that
totally.
your mother. Yes. Anyway, but you see what I'm saying. So we can't protect you when you go out there.
Right.
And if you turn this into a pseudo semi-violent yelling and screaming kind of thing, again, parents need to know you get zeros for not being in your class. You'll get zeros for not being in school. We can all work together, and they can have a say,
And
Sounds good.
a safe say.
now, what about outside people that aren't involved at the school? Outside people coming in and speaking to these kids.
That's a good point.
It has to be run by the principal. Again, it's you can't just come on campus during the day.
Right.
That's how we keep you safe. We just don't let people on and off the campus at will.
From if my understanding is correct, the principal's allowing Brian Cafario and Katie Hill to come and speak to these students during this time.
At what school?
I believe it was at West Ranch. But that's just that's what I was told. Allegedly, this is what I was just told by one of the parents whose kid is involved with with one of these group chats that that this is going to be happening. So
and that's something that if that's going to happen based on what we know their stance to be, then there has to be the other side of the coin, and if there isn't, that's wrong, and that's somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to turn this into political, but those two are taking advantage of the situation. If that's the case,
Yeah.
it's not right.
And that's it was unfortunate that I think the kids should be able to do their thing and just let them do their thing. These aren't voters for Brian and Katie. So
Right.
Well, maybe some of the 18-year-olds are, but I mean.
Well, I'm sure she's going to get a lot of press time for it.
Yeah. So that and they both are. So. Well, we'll see what happens with that. I know that how do you respond to the teachers that are upset, saying that because they're basically a teacher at West Ranch told me that they were asked to kind of facilitate this whole thing, to kind of watch the kids, make sure that when everything's going on. And he's like, my job is to teach. My job is not, yes, I'm there to protect the kids too, but he's like, you're taking away from my teaching time for me to go out to something that's possibly going to become an anti-gun thing.
Right.
And now I have to stand out there and
I think you have to weigh this out. Okay, so I think the teacher, and again, the teacher's exactly right. I get paid to teach.
Mm-hmm.
I signed up to teach, right? Not to play security guard. But there's another side of this is if you don't give them an outlet, what are we going to do? Duct tape every child to his chair?
Right.
Lock every door?
Right.
They need to do something to blow off some steam and let us hear what they have to say.
Right.
So I think at some point in time you got to go, okay, I get paid to teach, but I'll take the 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever my role is here, and just keep an eye on them, make sure the thing gets out of hand. And if it does, nobody's telling you to jump in and break it up. You make the proper calls. You do whatever the process is.
Right.
But you know as well as I do, you're closer to high school than I am, age-wise.
For me, it's almost as like, what is the school's responsibility in helping to help these students process something which really is, at the end of the day, a political issue?
Yeah. Well, look at it's first of all, if it's a protest type of scenario, if it's they're going to do a walkout, that's not the school's job. Really, this isn't our job to facilitate that, but we are because we know what that could turn into. Right?
Sure,
we want to work together as a community. But what I think is there's a great opportunity for real to have some kind of get together at the different high schools, bring people in from both sides of the issue, and not politicos. I would not bring in anybody running for office. No. Okay. I would bring in two people well informed on both of those.
So discourse is what you would recommend.
that kind of disappointed me.
Honest dialogue is what you have.
At what point is it where a teacher, let's say a math teacher or something other than a political science teacher, comes in and starts joining the protest and influencing their point of view? At what point does it cross the line?
Well,
absolutely. Children are
that's
very,
being
very...
done. That's being done now already. Okay, let's not fool ourselves. In
Yeah.
the classrooms, you have teachers talking. I don't care whether it's a math class or a history. You've got teachers talking to kids about how they feel about the politics of the day.
Right. Yeah, we've seen the videos of the woman that put the projection of Trump speaking on her whiteboard and was shooting it with a water gun. And that recently, I believe, a substitute teacher was just dismissed for getting in an argument with a student here locally. And I believe that substitute teacher is no longer going to be a substitute teacher in the Hart District anymore.
I can't comment on any of that stuff.
Yes, I know. I know you can't. Because it's still, technically it's still under investigation within
it's
you
a
guys.
district thing. I wouldn't say anything. It wouldn't be cool.
But how is it going to be handled? Let's say devil's advocate, because it's supposed to be 10 a.m. is when this so in each time zone at 10 a.m. is when they're all supposed to be walking out. So at 10 a.m., let's say kids still decide to get up and walk out at that time. Yeah. Is that
they'll be treated? My understanding is they'll be treated accordingly. If they actually get up and walk out of a class after all this other stuff's going on, they'll get zeros for that class. If they walk off. The school grounds, then they should be marked as truant. See, here's the other thing about protesting that our young people really don't understand. There's pain and sorrow in protesting. Okay,
there's consequences.
You leave the job for the day to go protest, which is your right to do, and you should do that if you're really that solid behind it. But you don't get paid for that day.
Right. Yeah.
And what a great lesson to learn. If this is close to your heart and you want to go protest and you leave the school grounds, you get a Zippo.
Right.
And that's just part of life.
And that's just the way it is. Well, great. Well, Joe, we really appreciate you coming on and kind of explaining the situation and getting information out there so that people can have the right information.
And real quick, parents, you need to talk to, no matter what side you're on, you need to talk to your kids and make sure they understand going in this, what they're up against and what they should know, right?
Right. Right, exactly, and that's how it worked with me and my sister growing up, like with my parents, and I just don't understand why that doesn't seem to happen. I see it happening with quite a few families, but I know that there's definitely some that it doesn't necessarily happen that way. And Edwin, thank you very much for coming on and being with us tonight.
Thank you. I had a great time.
Great. Hopefully, if you get the nomination, we can get you back on again and have you talk about your future campaign against over the next 6 months going against Maxine. So
Yeah, and I would love to do an on-location interview in D.C. when I get into office.
Yes. Oh, that would be great. Yes. No, we'd love that.
You mean Auntie Maxine, right?
Auntie Maxine. Yes. So, all right. Well, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have juggling extraordinaire Ivan Pacell, who is a longtime resident, and we're looking forward to having him on. So we'll be back very shortly. Thank you.
Little Eye Leaders is the newest preschool in the Santa Clarita Valley. At Little Eye Leaders, our outstanding teachers lead with intellect, perspective, and heart. That means our programs provide a warm, nurturing atmosphere to meet the unique needs of each child. We believe that play is a powerful form of learning for young children. That's why our kids have every opportunity to learn through the magic and excitement of play. Parents, schedule a tour today by calling 303-0400 or online at littleeyeleaders.org.
Hey, it's Aaron Del Torre checking in with today's weather forecast. Mostly cloudy all day, no rain in the forecast, just a lot of humidity and daytime temps in the mid to upper 60s. Overnight lows going to drop down to the lower 50s. Grace Baptist Church presents Phil Wickham in concert coming up Sunday, March 25th at 6 p.m. Tickets are on sale now. Just head on over to gracebaptist.org/Wickham for more information.
Indulge yourself in the world of wine at the 6th Annual Sierra Pelona Valley Wine Festival, Saturday, April 21st from noon till 4 p.m., benefiting the Zonta Club of SCV. Get your Chardonnay on with live music, gourmet food, handmade crafts, and the best local wine Santa Clarita has to offer at Reyes Winery. Dionysus dilettantes and wine connoisseurs alike will enjoy this festival. Sponsored by Reyes Winery, Pepsi, Anheuser-Busch, main stage sponsor SCV Advanced Audiology, and VIP sponsors California Bank and Trust and Mercedes-Benz of Valencia. Visit reyeswinery.com to purchase tickets.
And here's David.
Welcome back to the Connecting Right radio show. So we talked with Edwin Dutorte, and I'm going to butcher his name every time. I feel horrible about it. But about his run in the 43rd District, going against right now Frank DiMartini, which is a cool last name, and Omar Navarro, and trying to get the nomination to go against Maxine Waters. Then we had Joe on. We talked about the high school walkouts that are happening on the 14th, this coming Wednesday. And now, so just to lighten it up a little bit and kind of put a spotlight on a longtime Santa Clarita resident who's been very successful in life, we have Ivan Pacell.
How are you guys?
What's up, Ivan?
Thank you so much for having me, man. I really appreciate it. This fulfills my mandatory community service. This is,
Perfect. You know, we're here to help the community out in the way, whatever way we can.
That's why I'm here.
So, so Ivan, you've born and raised here in Santa Clarita. I know that because I've known you since kindergarten.
Wow, God, yeah, we have. About 63 years now we've known each other. It seems like.
Yes. So you know, it's always we always want to take the time when we can to put a spotlight on somebody that's a Santa Clarita native and who's does good stuff. And so I remember. So you're a comedian and a juggler.
That's right.
Yes, and I remember in high school, like we'd be at a rally, and I'm sitting on one side of the auditorium, and all of a sudden you see Ivan stand up on the other side and start juggling. It's
a huge cry for help, man. That's all it is, you know.
And no one caught it, so now you're a professional juggler.
That's right. Just took it way, way too far.
How did you ever get into juggling? I bought the kit one time and gave it up after 20 minutes.
Yeah, you know, honestly, it was something that I saw when I was about 10 years old. I saw somebody doing it at a street fair. And I honestly thought it was like the lamest, hokiest thing I've ever seen. And I was like, I guarantee I can do that. And I went home and tried it.
So out of spite.
It was out of spite. You know, just why we do anything in life usually. And I just tried it, and for whatever reason had a kind of a knack for it. And it was something that it's like self-competition. You know, it's something you can always get better at. I'm not really competing against other people. It's kind of hand-eye coordination stuff, which I liked. Also, I was like 5 feet tall in high school, so sports were kind of out of the question. So it's just, something I kind of took way too far, I guess.
And it turned into a career.
Right.
That's a part of you.
So, so what like when people hear juggling, they just think like, oh, like he's got 3 balls and he's just throwing them around.
Right.
Like, so what are the stuff? What do you incorporate into your act? And it's called making juggling tolerable because
That's right.
juggling is boring, and so you actually make it fun.
Thanks. Yeah. So the tagline I use for basically everything is making juggling tolerable. And with that, it's basically because, yeah, it's very, very true. When somebody hears like, oh, a juggler, they think some guy just standing there juggling, and that's all it is. Well, the show that I do is an interactive comedy show, basically. And juggling is just the tool that I use to convey that message, more or less.
Nice.
So I do a lot of audience interaction, bring people up on stage. There's a lot of stand-up comedy elements to what I do. So basically, I found a way to take my skill, make it funny, make it interactive. I do all types of things. I like this whole last week, I was at the Hermosa Beach Comedy and Magic Club.
Yes.
So when you do that, you do more of an adult-oriented
Yeah,
show.
Not like you're doing for kids when you used to do the Disney cruises.
Exactly. So like I'd work on Disney Cruise Lines, and so you're doing a theater where there's 1,000 people in it, and there's 700 kids. So obviously the material you do is more geared towards that audience.
Right. And what's the number one request that you get from the audience, especially from the females?
It's take your shirt off. I get take your shirt off. I get that from the ladies.
And we have to mention, ladies,
confused
that
young men.
Ivan is very, very fit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I have a very strict diet. Like I'm on the road all the time. I try to work out when I can, but I'm very disciplined on. Basically, I eat 100% all protein, but I do it a little bit different because I also eat a ton of carbs.
Okay. So you eat like a normal person.
I do.
Jack in the Box is
more or less.
protein,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
No, like, 'cause I just remember growing up, like your dad and mom were like the most fit people I've ever seen in my entire life.
They're
Like,
actually listening right now.
Are they?
Yeah.
Hi, Debbie and Ron. But and so yeah, so it's no surprise that you.
Yeah, it's always been. Fitness has always been a big stress reliever for me. It's something that I
do you just
enjoy.
do you just wear a Baby Gap T-shirt every single so it's as tight as possible?
I have twin boys that are 7 years old, and basically when they grow out of something, I get their shirt. Yeah, what we do. It's recycling in my family.
So what? So like you said, you do more than just like juggling balls, but you've done like you'll just be at like the grocery store and like you'll just like I've seen some videos like you're just at the grocery store with your kids and you'll just like grab stuff and start juggling at the grocery store.
Again, cries for
grabbing
help.
all this
Oh my
fruit,
God.
you'll juggle it, lick it all, and then put it back.
Sure, exactly. That's what you got to do. Now, so I do. Juggle a bunch of different things. So in I've done a handful of TV commercials. Like I did one for Adelphia Internet years ago, and they had me juggling a computer monitor, a toilet plunger, a baby bottle, a steering wheel, and a cell phone.
Wow.
So they sent all this stuff to my house. They filmed this commercial in Boulder, Colorado.
Okay.
And so they sent all this stuff to my house, weeks before, and I had to figure out how to juggle all this stuff. And if you ever go to my YouTube channel, it's on there.
Yeah.
How does that
commercial's
even
on
work?
there.
Because you have different weights. And,
You do,
and then
yeah.
You've got the timing and.
Exactly. I mean, it's a whole.
Wow.
See, the thing with juggling is it's all muscle memory. It's just like any other sport, or anything you do. It's just a repetitive motion over and over of trying to get the correct rhythm and timing of whatever it is you're doing.
Okay. So that's why when you do like a bowling ball and like a knife and like something that's on fire, then it's just sort of the bowling ball's coming down. You got to use a little more.
Exactly. And don't catch the fire again.
Don't catch the fire. Don't catch
that's
the
my
blade
motto.
end.
In almost anything, just don't touch the fire again.
Have you ever injured yourself?
Emotionally, yeah, a lot of inside. It's just as black as my shirt, really. But no. I from years of just working out and juggling, I do. Like my shoulders are kind of rough, and I have tendonitis, pretty bad. But I try to never complain about it because it's like.
Isn't tendonitis just the medical term for tennis elbow?
It is, yeah. But I'm, I had 26
juggler's elbow, I guess.
Juggler's elbow, yeah.
And so you do juggle some dangerous items.
I do, yeah. So in my show, I do a thing where I juggle a bowling ball, an axe, and an egg.
That's right, the egg. That's what it was.
I do juggle fire in certain shows. I don't do chainsaws anymore since the trial, but whatever you can do.
And what have you juggled that made you the most nervous?
So many wives. Oh my God! Just bad timing. Just dropped them everywhere, and I can laugh about it now.
Right. Oh, but deep down inside, it still hurts.
But deep,
Awesome. And so, So you're 36. You'll be turning 37 in actually a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks. We made it, man.
Yeah, I can't believe that we're.
And we're only like 2 weeks apart. You're April 16th,
April
right?
16th, yeah.
Right.
So we've done birthday parties together growing up, and do you have any longtime friends, Tom, that you still keep in contact with?
Oh yeah, there's most of them moved away though.
Okay.
So they're usually moving out. I moved in.
We're me and Ivan are the ones that moved away and then came back.
Yeah. I right out of college, I moved to Vegas, so I lived in Vegas for about a decade.
You're doing shows out there, right?
I was, yeah. I had a show out there for like 4 years at Planet Hollywood. It was called Amazed, and then we changed the name to What Happens in Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the answer to What Happens in Vegas is you end up moving back to Santa Clarita. That's what happens. That's the answer. Everybody. That's what happens.
I mean, I moved away for a little bit. I came back too. Tom was in Japan and came back to Santa Clarita. So
yeah.
Wow. Very similar culture. Very similar cultures, though. So
Japan and
very
Vegas.
similar. Yeah.
And so you've also you mentioned that they did a commercial. I remember you did a JCPenney commercial also.
I did.
I thought they were going to do something cool, and you ended up just like tossing a plate.
So yeah, that was a $75,000 plate that I tossed. Wow. Yeah, that was. I'm not complaining about those residuals.
Right.
But no, it was the way TV stuff works. Like, I've done a handful of TV things over the years. One of the first TV things I did, I was in college, and they hired me to be a juggling bartender on the Kevin James
That's right.
TV show.
Oh, what was that show?
King of Queens.
Yes.
And so the premise of the episode was. Back in the day, he used to be a bouncer at this club in the 80s, and it was like the movie Cocktail was so popular, and the bartender was just like the coolest guy, and everyone loved him. And so I was hired to be like the Tom Cruise cocktail bartender. And so I went to the audition. I did all these tricks and stuff with beer bottles and wine bottles and shaker cups and stuff. And they're like, "Great, you got the part." And then we go to film it. And I'm there. They film my segment for an hour. I'm doing all this really cool stuff. When the episode comes out, literally a girl lays on the bar and goes, "Woo!" and I dump alcohol in her mouth. And that's it. That was it. And I'm like, you could have hired literally anybody to do what I did, And then similar with the JCPenney commercial. That I did. This was like a couple holiday seasons ago.
Yeah.
And they wanted, the whole premise of the commercial was to be like that clip on the movie Polar Express, where they're on the train and all the waiters are doing backflips and throwing glasses and everything across the rooms. That's what they went for. And so a good buddy of mine, Josh Horton, who also is a juggler, him and I got the part together. And so we came up with all these things where we're passing plates and throwing all this stuff and doing all this really cool stuff. And then sure enough, when the movie or when the commercial came out, I threw a plate and we're on screen for about 3 seconds. Yeah, is all it is.
They made quite a, and then and also you got to appear on the Jay Leno Tonight Show.
That was one of the highlights of my career.
Which was really
it
cool.
was great. Yeah, because he obviously stopped doing the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
So to have that credit was great, and it was funny because in high school, I don't remember this, but they did like the Spirit Pride Awards where they'd be like, "Oh, most likely to succeed, most likely to whatever." So I won most likely to be the next Jay Leno.
Okay.
That was the award that I got.
Yeah.
And so I went to the show, and this was like right during high school. I went like as an audience member just to check out the show, and we got to meet him afterwards. And he was like, "Oh wow, so kid, why'd you win most likely to be the next me?" And I was like, "Oh, because my last name's Jeleno." And he's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "No." And he goes, cute kid."
Cute kid.
Yeah.
Did
he had a cigar and
Did he poke you in the eye with his chin?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, no, but what a nice charitable guy. Like he's Jay's the greatest.
Yeah. And he's also very conservative too, and he wears a lot of denim.
A lot of denim.
Yeah,
it seems like the more successful you are, the more denim you wear.
I just want to know.
Just don't care.
I just want to know: does he have more cars or more denim?
Who knows, man? The guy has like a hangar full of cars.
Yeah, and he's probably got like 3 walk-in closets the size of my house with all just denim.
He might.
So, but yeah, no, I thought that was and that was an interesting act that you actually did on his show because you juggled golf or ping pong balls with your mouth.
I juggled because I'm an adult.
Yes.
Okay, because I own property. I juggled ping pong balls with my mouth. Yes.
Yes, so that was, and then I go and start this business, TrumpSingles.com, and Jay Leno does a little joke
monologue.
on
Yeah,
that
in his
when
monologue,
he
yeah.
comes back. Jimmy Fallon was on all the time. He pretended like he pulled his hammy while he was doing the.
They did that for a while. Where he'd be like, tag him in.
And then Ivan comes to me. He's like, I wanted to be on Jay Leno my whole life, and like I finally get to go do it. It's like the greatest thing. And then all of a sudden, you just make this stupid dating site.
You make a
and Jay
dating
Leno's
site,
making
yeah.
jokes about you. It's like,
You took an existing invention and put a clock in it, and now you're on Jay Leno. It's great. Yeah.
exactly. So, and you're taking off. You do colleges. That's your main thing.
So
right?
my main gig right now is I do a lot of corporate events
corporate
for
events,
anything from Fortune 500 companies down to local corporations.
Right.
So I'm on the road on average. I would say throughout the year probably 16, 17 days a month.
Right.
Starting tomorrow, I have 2 corporate shows in San Diego. I fly right to Arkansas for a college, fly back to San Diego for a different corporate event, and then I'm home for the weekend. And then coming up, I'm doing actually a lot of military bases in the country, a lot of Air Force bases in Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma. So I have a tour. It's about 18 different bases.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so
That's good.
it's really cool.
Because you support our troops, right?
Of course I do.
I know. I'm
Yeah,
just messing with you.
Of course I support it. I was like, nah.
I'm just gonna go juggle for him and tell him
Hey,
they're all jerks.
I'm doing my part.
Yeah.
I'm doing my
But
part
that's
to
great
support our troops. Yeah.
because it's good to go and because they need that they need that.
And it's great. I've done so many. I've never been overseas as far as I have for performing, but never for the troops. But
Right.
They're so appreciative, and it's like these people really do put their life on the line every day, and like they're away from their families and stuff. And it's great because they truly are appreciative.
Yes.
When I do colleges and stuff, it's like half the kids are entitled. And they're just like, well, why am I getting credit for being here? Like, why are you doing this?
Right, right.
But it's just to be for an audience that's genuinely appreciative is great.
Well, yeah, it's got to be tough for some of those college kids. They're sitting there. I'm going to school for my liberal arts degree. This guy. He got it. What'd you get your degree in from CSUN?
Film production.
So film production.
Yeah.
And now he's juggling, and he's probably going to make more money than me in my entire life. And so they're probably jaded on you a little bit.
A little bit. But luckily they have their safe space they can go to now and weep openly with their comfort German Shepherd puppy that I'm sure they supply to everybody.
Or I think I think it's the comfort hamsters are the new thing.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's
that
right.
Poor lady who flushed hers.
Remember your hamster Kibbles?
Oh, muskrat.
Wasn't it?
Kibbles was the rat, and you had Pippin.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because my sister. A little fun fact: my sister had a rat, and then she ended up not wanting to take care of it. So Ivan got it.
That's right.
And then it got sick, and his dad put it down.
Oh. My dad did put it down. That was an assassination.
Yes.
It really was. It absolutely
well, I was
was.
like, oh, jeez. But but your family is very much like kind of like that. Like it wasn't a farm, but you had land. You guys had land.
Exactly.
You could go exploring in the land, and
plantation is what it was. It was a plantation. Yeah.
But a haunted plantation at that.
Yeah.
And but no, they you didn't like take your dog to the vet and have it put down and like cremate. Like you guys like took him out to a little goodbye, and then your dad put it down and buried him like in the yard. So it's like
bringing back memories.
Yeah, but I just remember because it was like for the rest of us, we're like, oh, you take it to the vet and they take it down. Like they're like, no, we're doing it like old farm style. Put a little cross there.
Oh, now I'm sad. Okay.
But his dog was like my very first dog, so. So it was sad times. I remember when he called me and told me we were both very sad on the phone.
Yeah, your whole family. You came over with a cake.
Yes, yes, I did.
Said we miss our Keisha.
Yeah. We love that dog. And now you have Cosmo.
I do. I got a boxer from the Boxer Rescue, the LA Boxer Rescue.
Good.
Last
Glad you got
year.
it from a rescue.
Yeah, me too. Big dog guy. The kids love him.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Yeah. Awesome.
I walk him all the time.
All the time. just like my dogs get walked all the time too. So Tom, do you have any questions? Anything that pops into your mind that they like to ask Ivan about being a comedic juggler?
Other than why?
It just seemed
everything else didn't work out really.
Well, like I said, all I know is from my own failed, attempt at juggling, and it just to me throwing and getting the motion going along with the different weights is just it's amazing.
Well, the thing about it, I started juggling, like I said, when I was about 10 years old, and then very quickly you learned that for doing it for an audience, people can take about 5 or 6 minutes of juggling before they're like, I get it, you throw and catch crap. Like,
Right,
what
right.
else do you do? You know. So for me, the fun part is the interaction. The fun part is doing the comedy and making people laugh. Like
Yeah.
that's if it was up to me, I would just do stand up comedy. But
Yeah.
I have this skill, you know, that completely separates me from anybody else out there. Really, I mean, I can count the number of people in my hand that do what I do for
Right.
a living. Yeah. So there's I've been very fortunate in my career where I've never really had any slow time.
That's
you know,
good.
I make a very good living throwing and catching stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
And there's plenty of people out there who's like, oh, I'm a comedian. It's like, oh, you go to the Ice House and do like a 5-minute stand up once every like 3 months.
yeah,
And
exactly.
you make no money off it.
You
You're not
didn't
a
open
comedian.
mic at a pizza parlor. Like,
Yeah,
that's,
exactly,
That's
yeah.
pretty cool.
Ivan, help me out here. So someone who doesn't know anything about juggling,
Right.
what would be your first piece of advice?
Don't just run away. Learn Portuguese. Do something productive with your life.
Right. So, but I mean, literally, like right now, like we do have live feed, but I mean, we're on radio. We're not very enclosed space, so we're not going to ask you to do any juggling. But how hard would it be for you to juggle that KHTS sign, that clock, and Cody all at the same time?
And Cody,
Yeah.
I would probably drop one of them. It'd sure be fun to try, though. I can tell you that. Yeah, no, you know, three of anything within reason isn't too difficult.
Right.
You know, once you get to that point, once you get the rhythm, you can pretty much keep going. 3 of anything is
Yeah.
fairly doable.
But you're not juggling, but you're not like you do, like you say, you did the egg, the bowling ball, and the hatchet.
Yeah.
But so like the heaviest thing that you're going to have is probably like 10 or 11, 12 pounds. You're not going to have
I
anything
actually
that's-
do a thing in my like my theater show when there's families there. I do a thing where I actually juggle a kid from the audience.
Oh, jeez.
Like no joke. Like
Really?
I physically pick up a kid and I juggle a kid from the audience.
And so that's got to be what, anywhere between 40 and 70 pounds, depending on the size
Nowadays,
of the
it
kid.
could be up to 95 pounds. Depending on some of these. Yeah, I've done shows in Alabama, and they're about as big as my friend here. Some of these kids. What's your name, son? Haystack. Of course
Wow.
it is. Yeah. Parents feed you cinder blocks.
or they just lift cinder blocks.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they're, how old are you? Well, I'm 6, but I look 13.
Exactly. It's like, sweet beard, brah. I like it. Yeah.
So, well, Ivan, I really appreciate you coming on and kind of just talking about what you do, and that way we can, I wanted to get a little bit of a spotlight on you.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate you having me. For the viewers and the listeners, please check me out on all my social media outlets, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter. It's all at Ivan Pacell. And I usually have my tour schedule pasted up there. I do videos all the time, so you can check that out. And the next local thing that I am doing where people can come to, next month I will be at the Brea Performing Arts Center. This is Saturday, April 21st. That's in Brea, California. So doing a full family-friendly show there at the Performing Arts Center. We have a matinee show and an evening show. That's April 21st. So
That's awesome.
Right on.
I'm sure you're going to put it on your calendars right now. Yeah.
Well, maybe we should talk to the guys over at the Canyon, see if we can get you to do a local show out here.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That would be really
That'd
cool.
be fun. Well, again, thank you for coming on, and thank you everybody for listening. We always appreciate you tuning in to hear us rant about things that you may not care about, but some things that you actually do care about. You care about Ivan, you don't care about politics. Anyways, thank you again. You guys have a great week, and we will be back on the air next Sunday. Have a good week.